the true meaning of the word level. When used as a noun, Merriam-Webster defines level as, quote, a horizontal condition, especially equilibrium of a fluid, marked by a horizontal surface of even altitude. A line or surface that cuts perpendicularly all plumb lines that it meets, and hence would everywhere coincide with a surface of still water. A practically horizontal surface or area of land. This definition makes it clear that the word level denotes a flat, straight, horizontal surface perpendicular to plumb. All architects and builders are well acquainted with and rely on this definition of level during their constructions, whether building huge warehouses, walls, or forts, long bridges, railways, or canals. Finding and maintaining level is of paramount importance. When astronomers use the word level, however, they use a distinctly alternate definition from the noun described above. When used as an adjective, astronomers and Merriam-Webster redefine level to mean, quote, conforming to the curvature of the liquid parts of Earth's surface. In other words, this modified definition meant to work on a globe asserts that level actually means curved. This is patent absurdity, and a paradox of pandemic proportions. But globe believers will all readily nod their heads in enthusiastic agreement that level means bent. In an age when the definitions of such obvious words as man and woman have somehow become highly divisive and debatable, it should be no surprise that the word level could also now have two completely opposite, mutually exclusive definitions existing in the same dictionary entry. Theoretical astronomers can redefine any words they like, but they cannot change the way our instruments work, nor can they change fundamental physical laws. When structures are built across vast expanses, precision leveling instruments are used to determine a meticulously calculated and diligently adhered to datum line. Even slight deviations from the datum cause catastrophic consequences, so careful precautions are always taken to ensure everything is perfectly leveled. If Earth was actually a globe of given proportions, however, structures just a quarter-mile long would already deviate from the datum line by 2 inches. In other words, if level actually means curved, as globe proponents would have us believe, builders constructing a quarter-mile wall, building, or foundation would have to factor a gradual 2-inch deviation from one end to the other just to maintain level. This is preposterous, and such theoretical considerations are never taken into account because they are practically useless and would ruin the project. Water itself is the ultimate leveling tool and has been used in construction for millennia. The surface of standing water is always perfectly flat because fluid molecules lack the ability to stack and so spread outwards towards the path of least resistance. Thus, when contained and undisturbed, fluids maintain a level surface with equal altitudes across the entire expanse. You have never and will never see the surface of standing water bend because it is physically impossible. This is precisely what theoretical astronomers propose, however, that the world's oceans, lakes, ponds, and all other bodies of water on Earth are actually slightly bent. In defiance of any practical measurements and millennia of successful constructions, they believe all standing bodies of water somehow curve around and stick to a spinning ball, and have recently redefined the word level to fit with their absurdity. The two definitions are mutually exclusive, though. Level either means a horizontal surface of even altitude, or a curved surface equidistant from a given center point. It cannot be both simultaneously, and only one definition is practically demonstrable. No scientist on Earth can provide a demonstration showing a standing body of water with a curved surface. They cannot make water wrap around and stick to a spinning sphere, nor can they explain how any leveling instrument supposedly factors curvature. Globe believers begin with their conclusion and attempt to work backwards towards their favored premise, creating such a theoretical mess as this debacle of curved level. It's like saying bent straight. There is good reason we call it sea level, and not sea curve. The horizon is called such because it is always perfectly horizontal. How can you have a horizontal surface that curves? How can a straight line perpendicular to plumb ever be bent? If level means curved, then two objects at two different altitudes can still be considered level as long as they are equidistant from some curved reference frame. If level means curved, then all instruments used to determine horizontal datum lines are actually determining imperceptibly long bent lines. Similar to when woman is redefined to mean biological males on estrogen pills, when level is redefined to mean curved or bent, the word itself loses all meaning. Level either means a horizontal surface of even altitude, or a curved surface of even altitude, and it cannot be both.
I was on Google Earth and I came across something that I thought was pretty amazing, and that is that when you draw a path between 2 points on Google Earth, you can then ask it to show you the elevation cross-section between those 2 points, so you can kind of see the rise and fall of the landscape like a topographical map. So just to test it out, I drew a path from my dad's house in Denver, Colorado, to my house in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I want to show you something very interesting. When I choose to show the elevation cross-section, you can see it's basically this red line. The starting point at my dad's house is 5,394 feet above sea level. And he's in Denver, Colorado, which is the mile-high city, so that's what you would expect. But then as you move east, and you can see the red arrow move east as I go that direction, the landscape starts to change where the elevation drops down and it continues to drop. You go from the foothills of the Rocky Mountains into the plains of Colorado, Kansas, into Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and then finally you get into Cincinnati, Ohio, to my house, which is 764 feet above sea level. So what's interesting is Google Earth wants us to believe that the landscape makes this curve as shown here. But the elevation cross section actually shows that the landscape of the United States from my dad's house to my house follows this path. And most of us, when we were in elementary school, learned that the Rocky Mountains, which is close to where my dad lives, is the continental divide that divides the rainfall from east to west. I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, I've been to the Milner Pass, which is about 2 miles above sea level. And there's a sign that says the Great Divide separates drainage to the Atlantic from the drainage to the Pacific. It traverses America from Alaska almost to Cape Horn. And so that would make sense if the landscape does follow this topographical cross-section. I wanted to see what would happen when you look at the elevation cross-section over a great body of water. So starting at the northernmost point, as far as I can get, of Lake Michigan, and then traveling south, you can see that red line here, that the body of Lake Michigan is 574 feet above sea level, and it's level. There's no change in elevation. There's no curve. This cross-section shows what an undisturbed body of water looks like, and that's level. We know that to be true. There's 3 properties of liquids. They have mass, they take up space, and they always take the shape of their container. And so Lake Michigan from north to south is 574 feet above sea level. So then just to do another check, I wanted to see what the elevation profile would look like for Hudson Bay in Canada. Relatively a large undisturbed body of water. And you'll see here from the westernmost side, it shows an elevation of -2 feet below sea level, and it's level for a distance of over 879 miles. So what does all that mean? What I believe it means is that water is flat, water seeks its own level, therefore the idea that we're spinning on a globe is absolutely impossible.